Right, in today's video, I thought we'd just have a quick look at these new toys here that Toro has actually sent to me. Now, to be totally transparent, these were sent to me as a free gift. So Toro has sent these to me for honest opinion, feedback, etc. And they are mine to keep. So thank you very much, Toro, for that. And I just want to be upfront with you guys that yeah, these were supplied to me free of charge. Now, we'll go through them all quickly one at a time, but today what we're going to do is we're going to focus our main episode on the 60-volt string trimmer, and I'll show you in a minute. We've got some pretty challenging sort of tall grass there, some wild oats and stuff like that, so we're going to hit that with this trimmer, see how it runs. It's probably going to be far more advanced, it's probably going to be far heavier work than most people would ask of a domestic machine, but I thought we'd give it the full work, see how it handles it, and see how far we get on a single charge. So anyway, we'll start with they do a hedge trimmer in the 60 volt. So I'll put all the details on the screen as well. So this is a pretty awesome looking hedge trimmer, and it also has a adjustable handle. So if you're trimming a hedge up the side, it's a much more natural position than if you were like that. So liking the look of that. So when the time comes to give the hedges a trim, and there's plenty here, we'll give it a workout. So that's the hedge trimmer. It's worth noting that all of these machines, including the mower, all can share the same battery. So obviously the battery on the mower is the biggest, but in this respect, these ones can have a smaller battery and still work quite well. Just means just a little bit less run time, but I wouldn't probably put a tiny battery in the mower. Righto, so the next one we've got here is the battery blower. Now I reckon this is probably going to be one of their more popular products, simply because, look, I've got a still blower and it's been a great machine, but if it's been sitting for a while, like a lot of two-strokes, it can be a bit stubborn to start. This thing here, just battery goes straight in, squeeze the trigger, and you're off and running. Less noise, less smoke, less all of that sort of stuff, and it's light, it's handy. Okay, throw it around, and yeah, so it looks like a good bit of gear. Can't wait to get into it a bit more. It's worth noting that all these machines come as a skin, so you just buy the tool and then you buy a charger and whichever batteries that you want. So you can sort of build a system to suit yourself. With these pieces of equipment here, Toro supplied the 2.5 amp hour battery, which is 135 watt hours. So it's fully charged there now. There's a battery charge indicator light there, which shows you the charge level. Charger, which is a flex force charger. Next one's a bit of an interesting one. This is a 60 volt chainsaw. Now I have actually had a little bit of experience with a battery saw in the past. A mate of mine who is actually a tree fella, so he does tree lopping and that sort of stuff. I went out, it was a couple of years ago now, I went out on a job with him once, and we chopped down this tree, blah blah blah, and we're cleaning up. Anyway, pulls out a battery saw, and it was actually a steel battery saw, and I sort of laughed at him. I said, "What are you doing with that?" And he said, "You just wait and see." I've got to be honest, I think battery saws are the most underrated thing going. Now look, let me just put a condition on that. Look, I wouldn't take this out firewood chopping, simply because I think these things are really suited just for home pruning, green branches, etc. But if you're going camping for the weekend, I know I'd rather have this floating around the back of my car than stinky fuel and all that sort of stuff. When I've only got to cut a few pieces, I can pack a charger, charge it up, and I reckon this is going to be the best camping saw you've ever come across. So worth considering. Probably not my first go-to for chopping a trailer load of firewood, but for just general stuff around the yard, I reckon this is going to be a good little thing, so I can't wait to try it out. Righto, how do I even get this in the screen? There we go. So this is the Toro string line trimmer. A couple of really interesting little points about this. Like a petrol powered string trimmer, the throttle is variable, so it's not either on or off, you have variable speed. And when you turn it around, there is also on the side here a high and low speed. So basically, I guess you could have it in low speed and hold it at full noise, which would be less than if you had it at speed number 2 and held it at full noise. So maybe number 1 full noise would be great for all sort of general applications, and then perhaps maybe 2 for really heavy stuff. We'll find that out today. So yeah, look, great little thing. Another thing that I noticed with this string trimmer, You can actually reverse this here. This is the cutter, and if you reverse it around, it'll give you a wider cut with your string. So we're probably going to swap that around in a minute, turn him around, and that'll give us a little bit more cut. I think it takes it to, oh, don't quote me on this. No, I'll put it on the screen. I don't want to even try and get it wrong. But another benefit of this is it has a very similar, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with speed feed heads, very similar design. You don't have to pull all this apart to change the line. So basically all we do is we line up the triangle here, oh, it's not even on the screen, line up this triangle here, this arrow and this arrow together, and then when the lines run out we can poke line through here and wind it back through. We'll run with the line that's in it to start with, and when that runs out we'll go and swap it over and I'll show you how that works. So I have got a bit more of trimmer cord because obviously from the factory I can't imagine this one having too much in it. So that's pretty cool. One negative straight off the bat that I don't like about this, I'm not a big fan of huge big guards like this. I would prefer the guard to end about here, and I've noticed in some of the American versions of this trimmer it sort of does that. So I'm not sure if this is an updated one where they've increased the guard space, which, you know, for all intents and purposes, you know, is for safety. But for me personally, I would prefer to see more of what's happening. I feel this is going to be a little bit obstructive to my vision, but yeah, we'll see how we go. So yep, honest feedback. If I don't like something, I'll tell you, and obviously I'll tell you what I like about it as well. I reckon that's a pretty fair test. We'll just have to see if I get through it with the single battery. I guess it depends how quickly it goes through it all and how much power it's got. So, right, I'll set you guys up somewhere out of the way, and let's hook in. Let's put our little battery in, just slides in the back there, like so. Still lightweight unit. Balance is pretty good. Balance is probably, at least 50-50, maybe. Yeah, maybe a little bit heavier with the battery on, so well balanced. Let's have a little play around with it. I reckon we might just try setting number 1. So a little safety thing there, squeeze. Righto, so we'll try see how we go with setting number 1, see if that's enough power. If not, we'll go across to setting 2. Yeah, we'll go from there. First thing I noticed is it actually spins the other way to what my petrol trimmer spins. So that was a little bit, took me a bit by surprise. So it'll be interesting to see when it comes to do edges. But look, that was, I hope that was setting 1. Yep, that was the low setting for a little domestic home battery trimmer. I'm really impressed with that. That was pretty thick sort of material. So let's hook on and see how far we go. we've whipped through that pretty quickly. We've also been able to just keep it on setting number 1. How much battery have we used? Okay, so it's just gone down to 2 out of 4 bars. So we've used half the battery, but we've done quite a long distance there. The last bit here is probably one of the longer bits, so I'm going to whip it up to the full speed, the full noise, and just see how much difference that makes. But as I said, so far I've gone through that whole bit on low speed. Now look, it may be just a tiny bit slower than actually a high-powered petrol brush cutter like the Honda one that I've got, but 2 different machines. That's a commercial machine. This is marketed at a domestic homeowner, and certainly probably not someone who's on an acre of land. So really, for just a normal sized building block, something like this would be really worth consideration at this early stage. So get this last bit done on high speed, and we'll crack on. Okay, so final first thoughts using this little Toro 60 volt string trimmer. Really light, really quiet. One of the things that I actually didn't like, and I said it in the start, and it became more of a problem as we went on, is the size of this guard. I found somewhere around about, if it was about somewhere there, less, it would be great. The way I operate these string trimmers, I found a lot of the time this corner here was just catching out in the ground and sort of snagging a little bit, and also the height of the guard that comes down. That's something that I didn't enjoy so much. I really thought that I didn't know if we'd get through it with the battery or not, but used half the battery. I think that's right, let me double check. Yep, 2 bars left out of 4, so that's pretty cool. And that's a pretty big area. That would be, I'll measure it up and I'll put it on the screen, but it's quite a big area. It was quite long and quite thick. But other than that, small, lightweight. The other thing, you can't hose these things down to clean them, so you just have to wipe it down. It does say that in the book, don't hose him down. So it'll just be a matter of wiping it off. That's as good as you'll do with this one. Anyway guys, look, I hope you've enjoyed the look at this little trimmer. Be sure to use it again as the season goes on. Spring is just around the corner. Now just keep in mind, if you haven't used pre-emergence, now's a good time to start thinking about putting down some bindi killer, and remember, whatever it is that you use, make sure it's safe for your sort of grass, and we're aiming for 2 applications 2 weeks apart, generally speaking. So yeah, if you haven't got your bindi killers and your dicambers and all those sorts of things, go and grab some of that stuff and get ready to put down the first spray for bindies, because as I said, you don't want to walk around in summer in bare feet and get a feet full of bindies. Anyway guys, look, have a great weekend. We'll catch you next time on the Aussie Lawn.